Hi first graders, I am so excited to dissect an owl pellet with you today. I first want to show you my collection of bones. I've been dissecting owl pellets for many years and they are incredible. Sometimes you can find the most amazing bones. So here's my most favorite bones that I've found, and I'm going to pull one out very, very carefully using my tweezers because I don't want to break them. They're delicate. So this one, I'll put it in my hand. This is a skull of a rodent. You can see the long teeth right there and the two sockets for eyes, and this is the skull. It protects the brain. And then underneath, you look really, really close, you can see even the little back teeth. My other favorite that I have is this one. Oops. More gently, Miss Hayes. So this one is the skull of a small bird. And you can tell, see, it has a different shape than the skull of the rodent. You can tell that it has the beak right here. And there's even still some pellet fur and things remaining here that I think was just too stuck. I didn't want to damage the skull trying to get it out. So that's one of my other favorite bones that I have in my collection. Also, let's see, let's see. What else? Sometimes in a pellet you might find small pieces, like half of the upper jaw of a rodent. You can tell it's half of the upper jaw because of the long tooth there and then the teeth underneath. You also may find other bones like this one or something different, this one. So let's get started. In your kit that I sent home, you'll have your wrapped owl pellet and a pair of tweezers, a magnifying glass, your bone bag for all of your special bones that you find, and then a little note, and I'll read it to you. It says, please return the tweezers and magnifying glass to school with your completed work. These science tools are special to room 5. Thank you for being responsible. And this is a note for parents. This came with my owl pellets that I ordered, just so you can see that these are all safe certified. The pellets are carefully sorted, dried, and heat treated and wrapped in their facility in Washington, and monthly samples are submitted to an independent lab for testing to ensure safety. It says wearing gloves and washing hands is good practice and will also teach good laboratory and safety habits. On rare occasions, students who are allergic to pets may have a reaction from owl pellets. The owl pellets do contain hair of prey, so it's a good idea to ask your child if they feel itchy or are having any allergic reactions. I am personally allergic to cats and dogs with a lot of hair, but I've never had a problem dissecting owl pellets. I will not be wearing gloves today, but I'll talk about the safety precautions that we need to take while we're dissecting an owl pellet. Also in your kit, you have this owl pellet bone chart. It's an identification chart, and it gives the shape and the names of different bones that you might find in your pellet. So I encourage you to grab a pencil, a pen, or a crayon and maybe mark with tallies, or you can circle when you find something. And I'll show you how I use this as we go along. Okay, first thing we need to do is open your owl pellet. Be very, very careful, boys and girls, as this is a delicate specimen. And you can go ahead and recycle the tin foil. You're not going to need that anymore. And I gave you a black piece of paper because it's really, really much easier to be able to separate the fur and the bones when you can see them on the black paper. And when you have your owl pellet, I like to just start by seeing if there's any areas that you can easily open by just gently pulling it apart like this. You don't want to pull hard. I'm being very, very gentle. Just kind of feeling where those soft spots are. Yeah, that one's not going to come apart anymore. I don't want to crack anything. And already you can probably see some bones starting to come out here. So I'm going to hold this part closer, and now I'm going to start using my tweezers. And this is a really good thing to be extra careful, because you can feel when it's fur and when it's bone. And I'm just using my tweezers in little movements and slowly pulling bits of fur out. And there's a lot of teeny bones. Here's kind of a medium-sized bone. There's another one. I'm gonna start on this one too. Oh yeah, this is just falling apart. That's great. Okay, now here's a bone with an interesting shape that I found. I was so careful not to break it. Okay, so now what I can do is I can go over to my bone identification chart, and I can see, oh, look, it looks like the pelvic bone of a shrew, which is a rodent. And so I'm going to take my pelvic bone that I found, and I'm going to make sure it's separate from the rest of my specimens, and I'm going to go ahead and mark on my chart that I found one pelvic bone. And I'm not 100% sure that's a shrew, but if I find other parts of a shrew, then I'm pretty sure that I know that this barn owl ate a shrew at some point. And I've been finding a lot already of these little tiny bones. It might be hard for you to see, but I can see already that I have about 4 or 5 of those tiny bones. So I'm gonna mark 2, 3, 4. 4 tally marks. Okay, let's continue. I think that, oh look, here's something really cool. There's another bone. It looks a little bit different than this one that I found. So I would use my bone identification chart to see how those bones are different and what could it be. Here's another bone that's different. See, I'm just about done. One of the things, boys and girls, that you want to remember about using a pellet and good safe practices is if you get your face too close, you might get some of this fur in your nose, and if you breathe too hard or get really excited when you find a bone, then you might end up blowing away this dust. So be careful, make sure you do it inside somewhere away from little brothers and sisters, and somewhere where that you can make sure that you have enough space around you to focus. Consider that this might take you about 20 minutes, and you can take a break and then come back and do some more. Be very, very gentle all the time. As you can see, I'm just kind of sorting through now, looking for all the little bone bits so I can finish my identification chart and keep track of the bones that I found. I didn't find a full skull in this one, an intact skull, which is always exciting. Those are really rare. So if you find an intact skull, that is pretty awesome. But I did find a few parts of skulls. Like I found this part. It's missing the jawbone, but it does have the front teeth there, and you can see the bottom teeth too. But it's not as intact as some of the others in my collection, but I'm still really excited. I also have a partial jawbone here that I found, And I'll be able to identify a lot of these bones that I'm separating out. And all of this, after I'm done, I'll just put that carefully in the garbage. You might want to ask a grown-up for help. And I'll use my bone bag to save and preserve all of my bones in this bag. And if you want, you can use your magnifying glass to get a closer look at the details of those bones. And it even might help you to find more bones in all of the remaining fur. So good luck with your owl pellet dissection, boys and girls, and I can't wait to hear about what you found.